And gave you the nice relaxing intro instead of the hard rock intro. Hey everybody, surprise, look who showed up. It's Ed. I didn't know I sort of knew we were going to talk today, but then we didn't confirm. It's our old friend Ed, and Ed is back once again to tell us about another amazing game from that prolific imagination of his. We have ERA. I'm going to probably say this wrong. Balama, B-L-A.
No, you are correct that you're wrong. It's Balam.
Balam. Is that a real word or a made-up word? That was my first question.
It is, in fact, a real word. In fact, you're a Final Fantasy fan. Final Fantasy VIII named their god Balam Gordon, you may remember. Had a B in.
Uh-huh.
But it's named after the same thing, which is an Earth goddess of African origin.
We're Earth goddess of African origin.
Like a Gaia or, that sort of thing.
Just
an embodiment of Earth kind of thing.
An embodiment of Earth, an Earth, what are they called? A celestial Madonna.
Deity, yeah.
So why is your spaceship called ERA.Balam?
Well, it's not. Actually, the planet's called Balam. But, so this project started some years ago now, about 6 years ago. And Kickstarter put out a prompt back in the days where they used to do a few more prompts, and I'm a very I'm trying to find a good way of saying competitive.
Okay, driven.
I'm a very driven individual, and what I tried to do was do something for every prompt they put out, and I still do. They just don't put quite so many out anymore.
I never knew they did that.
And what the prompt was for this was Projects of Earth. Because we were actually in the month where the 50th anniversary of both Voyager 2 and Voyager 1 taking off was.
Oh.
And they said, okay, well, to celebrate this, we should look upwards and we should celebrate what Earth is and has achieved and so on. Or something to do with space or, sort of anything around, like, inspired by the Voyager probes. So me being me and my imagination being what it is, I immediately thought, right, okay, what if one of the probes traveled through a wormhole, crash landed on an alien power plant, blew it up, destroyed their entire planet, and now the aliens are coming looking for bloody revenge?
Isn't that the plot for the first Star Trek movie?
Yeah, I mean, it has similarities, I'm not going to lie. There was a Voyager episode, actually, the one where they accidentally time travel, Time and Again, was it? I think it's called something like that. Fourth episode or so of Voyager. I used to know this stuff just perfectly. My brain is fading as I get older, it turns out. But I thought to myself, okay, well, that would be a really cool setting. We could have like this remote human colony in the star system, which I named the main planet. The game is named after the main planet that still shelters humanity, Balam.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I sort of expanded from there. So this alien armada sort of tracked back the way the probe came, and it passed through this system where it found humans and realized that that's a match for the technology that blew up their planet. So they stopped to eradicate the humans. The thing is, they didn't realize yet that humanity didn't come. Well, they might have realized, but they don't know where humanity did come from. So Balam is basically the only place. If they took Balam, then they might find out where humanity came from, come back and try and annihilate Earth, which would be pretty disastrous.
Yes.
So you as a pilot, you are fighting for humanity as a whole, not just in your solar system, but as a whole. And these Paladin fighters that you have, they're cobbled together from whatever spare parts more or less were available. Each one is different and unique.
Okay.
And that gives me an opportunity to sort of look at the whole duality between the pilot and the starship. Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing, or Wash and Serenity, or various other instances that you've had all through sci-fi where you've got this pilot who has this sort of special relationship with the ship that they pilot. You know, it's almost like one person.
Are they like sentient ships, or just the fact that the pilots get to design
them?
No,
it's just you. It's your one-man ship. It's the ship you live in, you work in, you fight the aliens, you defend. It's a part of you, an extension of your body. And it's expressed by some of the stats actually being the stats of the ship and not the stats of you. So your strength, your stamina, your dexterity, that's your ship's strength, towing or pushing power. It's your ship's stamina, you know, it's toughness, and it is affected by improving your armor or whatever else you might do with your ship. You've got your dexterity, that's your ship's maneuverability. Whereas your intelligence, your charisma, that's you, the pilot.
Ship is almost like a power suit of armor, power armor, because it's got stats.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, actually, you know, I know that you're this way inclined somewhat.
I was getting to it.
It's been suggested to me that it would make quite a good sort of robot.
I was just about to go there. You beat me to it.
Well, I can't say I did. That was one of my my big fans who suggested that.
Yeah. Well, because we were last time I saw you, we talked about, you know, well, you've done kaiju or giant stompy robots next.
Yeah, when you're doing giant stompy robots, yeah, I remember.
And then you did spaceships, which could also be
giant stompy robots, I suppose.
Are you including vehicle building rules? Like,
no,
because you know, my favorite thing you've done of all the stuff that you've sent me is the weapon stuff from Dead West. I really love that, and that's always whenever I look at your stuff, I'm like, I wonder if Ed's going to do more of that. So you're going to do a vehicle building thing using the same?
Not exactly. It doesn't not using that kind of thing. That was extremely hard to balance, and it took a very long time to get that right in Dead West.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really important to me that it's balanced. It's not like there's not just an imbalance, I should say, in the game. What you have in this is more like an equipment list. You're able to outfit your fighter in various different ways to enhance various different things. But while one armor will improve your damage threshold, the other will improve your kill threshold, and you're going to have to make a choice. You can choose a main module, which is really a very big part of how your ship behaves. You can see that giant red laser beam that we've got on the picture there. That's one of the main modules. It's the laser cannon, which can only fire every other turn. So you're basically turning yourself into a massive, huge, long-ranged attacker, but you're only able to fire once every other turn with that weapon. Then again, you could have the Devastator main module, which has multiple sets of normal guns, which if you get nice and close to an enemy, you will just turn them into Swiss cheese.
Okay, cool.
Or you can have a scout module or a support module. In fact, it's really tiny on that screen, but the support module is actually shown on the cover of the book there that you're looking at, where there are 3 small drones which have been deployed and are repairing the other ship. That's it right there. So you can have the support module, you can have the scout module, which makes you invisible to sensors. You can have a mine layer and sweeper.
So do you have a limit?
You can only have one main module.
One module, yes.
You're allowed to switch them out under how the GM's discretion. Basically, if you land at a base and you want to switch out your main module, you absolutely can. You know, you play one session, you think, wow, that laser cannon was so awesome. I feel like it suits my playstyle better, but here I am with a mine layer. I don't think that's right for me. Let's switch it out. You're absolutely allowed to do that. Cool. In the sense that you have the Dead West grid, no, you don't.
Okay.
But in terms of the choices you have to make for equipment, I think that you would find it's a pretty similar kind of customization. You're going to have to make some choices.
So you're buying equipment for your ship, but also and are there adventures for the characters outside the ship, or is everything just ship to ship, space to ship?
So ERA.Balam is designed as mostly a within-ship experience. You absolutely can wander around. So primarily it was inspired by an old game that Microsoft Games did called Freelancer. You heard of it?
Maybe. It sounds familiar.
And that was it's just really good fun. It's a really nice game, beautifully made, and I really enjoyed it. I grew up somewhat with it in my late teens, and I really enjoyed it, and it stuck with me. And I did always think about that game because it's very similar. You get to come out of your ship, but only for like verbal interactions. You don't have any combat outside of the ship. You don't have a lot to do apart from go around, buy stuff, and then get back on your ship and go and do your mission. And I always did think about, well, why did they do it that way? But when I got to ERA.Balam, I thought, look, I can do ground rules for this, but it's just going to look like Era the Consortium.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels like I'm bulking out the book for something you don't need. And if you want it, grab Era the Consortium and use those rules.
Yeah.
And since releasing Balam, I've actually had reports of groups who did exactly that. They were playing Era the Consortium, well, the other way around, I suppose. They were playing Era the Consortium, and then they jumped in their fighters and went off and did a fighter thing, and then used ERA.Balam rules, and then they hopped out of their ships and went back to doing Consortium stuff.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's what it should be. So it's
really nice to have that interaction,
So it's more of a space skirmish. Are you going to make minis for it? Because you guys make minis now. We're going to see.
We are not going to make minis for this one. I thought about it quite hard, but I feel like Balam is not best served by minis. I think it's one of those things where if you have minis and you have a map, say, one of my groups decided that the way of solving their problem was to go to a nearby asteroid field, harvest an asteroid, stick some boosters on it, and fire it at the alien base.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that if you have a map with minis on it, that kind of creativity tends to go out the window.
Okay.
Because you feel restrained by what you can see on the map. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
One of the things that I am doing, we've already hit a stretch goal. I'm really proud and pleased. Yeah. And we're only five backers off our next stretch goal the last time I looked at it, which admittedly was about half an hour ago. Maybe it's increased. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm still hoping you hit that $1 million mark. But you're at 36 backers and 1,006.
4 more backers and everyone's going to get a bonus game. But we've already hit our first amount stretch goal, which was 700 British pounds, and obviously you've got it in dollars there. We're just coming up to 800 at the moment. And that means that I'll be adding stats for 2 new kinds of alien ships. So there are some in the book, but there are more ideas that I have. And again, excuse me, I'm sorry. Again, heavily inspired by Homeworld. I want to bring frigates into this. Mm-hmm. Alien ones, because humans don't have the resources to build them. But I want aliens to have frigates that you're going to have to really tactically take out. Do you go for the engines? Do you go for the weapons? Do you go for the maneuver engines so it can only fire forwards? How do you deal with a frigate that has so much more power than you as a squadron of fighters? And I think that would be a lot of fun to sort of include those. So I've got a list of ships. We've got stretch goals that will deliver 8 ships, and then I'll do it in a physical booklet if we get there. So a physical booklet will be available for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you can just do books of ships for years and people will buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you never run out of ideas, really.
First, you make a spaceship as ridiculous as you want.
And then I was actually asked very early on in the campaign, in the comments, I was asked about solo rules. And I think ERA.Balam is something that does actually lend itself quite nicely to a solo play approach.
You alone with a ship in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And I've decided to add that as a stretch goal. It's quite ambitious. It would be my first dip into solo rules, although I've been working on something for a little while for the superhero game, Era the Empowered.
Favorite.
Because I really think that, as a superhero, it's so common, even if you do team-ups, you go back to your home city and you have your neighborhood to deal with. You've got Spider-Man, sometimes he's with the Avengers and sometimes he's on his own, or Batman with the Justice League is maybe even a better example, because he's officially only a part-timer for a good long time. Not actually part of the Justice League.
It definitely opens. It feels like it's a good genre for solo journaling and stuff.
So I've been thinking hard about that. So I want to apply some of the things I've come up with to ERA.Balam, and then hopefully we will unlock some solo rules. That would be really cool.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned that the bad guys get better ships. Are you going to include rules for scavenging? So that
as players are already in there. You've got two choices. You can be a support person with the drones that can salvage, or you can take a spacewalk.
And that's how you open up more gear and more stuff.
Stuff
for the players to find.
Absolutely. And you hope you don't run into a live alien, because think Independence Day. They're somewhat physically superior.
Well, they always are. We never run into third world aliens.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean, ERA.Balam has been a delight to create and bring to life. And just so you know, this isn't a brand new game. Like I said, it started some years ago. But the first version, eventually it sold out, and I thought, you know what, I can do better. I can make this better. I can add things that people have realized they need, and I can sort of enhance a few bits and pieces. And I wanted to do that, and that's really what this project was all about, this version 1.1 of ERA.Balam. And because of when it happened at the time, it was in July, and it's really hard to get backers in July because a lot of people are outside enjoying the weather, which is totally fine, totally fair enough and understandable. But a lot of people are outside enjoying the weather, and really the Kickstarter never hit the heights of Era Dead West or Era Kaiju, or even what it is now, really. So I felt like this game deserved another look from people.
And now it seems like this is what people want.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I think people are burnt out on fantasy. There's such a. I mean, especially I don't know about the one thing we always is the difference between your market and the market here. What's big here is not necessarily big over there. And right now, there's just a glut of just everywhere you look. There's another fantasy heartbreaker being kickstarted. Dunegoncoach just hit 1 million with DC 20. Everybody wants to kick D&D 2024 in the proverbial behind. So I'm, maybe this is what we need to break the monotony. We need a good space game. We need to get people out of that fantasy glut and get us back to, let's go into space and be hopeful and blow stuff up and have giant robots.
Well, yeah. I mean, all you have to do is look at that title image. It's one of the reasons I really love it as both the cover of the book and also for the Kickstarter, because you can see everything that's there. There's the alien mothership. There's fighters doing things. Pew pew, boom boom.
Yeah.
It does the lot.
We need a good space game, definitely. I'm very excited. Now, of course, the question, because you stepped in the shallow end. We've got Era Empowered, got Era Kaiju, and now we've got this. Am I going to get my giant robots?
Not in this specific game at this minute. However, I am increasingly tempted. I'll tell you what. Here's a challenge for you. If we get to another stretch goal beyond what I've already published, I will write something that allows you to wander around on planets with your ship as a giant robot.
Awesome.
All right. So if we go beyond that, what did I say for stretch goals so far? 2,500. So if we get to 3,000, which I remind you, Era Kaiju got 4,400.
Yes,
so it's not impossible.
because of Godzilla -1. I mean, kaiju's it's the kaijun right now.
Kaijun, I love it. That's great. Yes, if we get to 3,000, I will write a short. So the solo rules. The idea actually was that they would. Oh, there's a typo in the 2,500. That's supposed to say the solo rules. I've just noticed the typo in the stretch goals. I'll fix it straight when we're done.
Makes you human.
Sorry?
Makes you human. Just there's mistakes, you know.
Yes. Occasionally, I do prove I am sadly still human. But if we get to that 3K, I commit to you and your viewers that I will write you a page in the booklet where the alien spacecraft and the solo rules will be going. I will write you a page or two that tell you about conversion into walking around as a giant robot. And not only that, I will give it consideration alongside the ERA Kaiju rules to make it as balanced as humanly possible.
Thank you very much. I have at least two other people I can share that with. We talk about your creating, but obviously there you do some playing and running there. So what is Ed's non-creating life like lately? What is Ed playing and running these days?
Well, the last game I actually ran was Next Door. My next door neighbors are big fans of Era of the Empowered. They've got two kids of like between 12 and 14. And the parents enjoy it too. So the last game I actually ran was Next Door with them, and I run a lot of Empowered for them.
Yeah, nothing wrong with running supers.
Absolutely, I enjoy it. In fact, they really work hard at problem solving it, and that's nice. It's how do I come up with a really
what
as balanced as forcing Angaras to fight?
Is that a giant robot mission? It's got to be a kaiju mission. Kaiju, some
yeah,
some
that
kaiju.
is. Who's Desghidorah? I don't know who that is.
It's got to be another one of the monsters from Ultraman or some other kaiju. No, it's Marhotman. He's my nemesis.
I hope to make it reasonably balanced between the two. It should be a doable thing. I don't think that should be impossible. I need to give it some thought. Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Sentai's my thing, you know. It's not other than Sentai and Kamen Rider. I'm just starting to get back into kaiju because it's kaijun. So we talked, and you said you're going to do action movies, and then I saw an action movie game get advertised, and I thought that was you, and then I went, no, it doesn't have the ERA name on it. It's not Ed. So.
Oh no, indeed. That's generally a good indicator. Yeah. Yeah, no, the artwork's been a little slower on that than I would ideally have liked, but quality is more important than speed to me. I don't want to put out a game which looks like garbage.
I want it
to look really good. I want you guys to look at it and think, wow, this is awesome looking as well as awesome playing. So yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on I did a panel at MCM Comic Con. I do so frequently. MCM Comic Con London is the biggest comic convention here in the UK.
That was one of my commitments. I had that question coming up about you visiting cons. So go ahead.
Well, I did a panel, and I often do a panel. I did a panel about starting and finishing your creative projects, which I think it's fair to say I'm something of an expert in. And I was persuaded that I should also do a workshop. So I decided that what we would do is create a tabletop role-playing game in an hour. And I expected about 5 people to turn up. 35 people turned up. 2 of them were in the wrong room, so it was 33 people in there. It's a convention. I mean, it
Yeah,
happens, right? 33 people turned up. And we came up with a concept for a game which is off the rails and yet so awesome that I have to make it.
Oh, cool. Well, don't keep it a secret, you know.
Oh, no. I'm just going to tell you the top level. Diesel Punk. Shark Ninjas.
Diesel Punk Shark Ninjas. That's next month, the Shark Month. Yes, awesome. Yes, we need Diesel Punk Shark Ninjas.
Diesel Punk Shark Ninjas. Absolutely insane. I've got a list of notes that everyone at the panel made here. I'm working on it. I'm working on it at the moment. And every single person, the workshop. I mean, every single person who turned up to the workshop is getting credited for creative contribution.
Cool.
We had teams who came up with weapons. Did you know that sharks can fire their teeth at things?
No. I know that their teeth cycle through like on a conveyor belt. I didn't know they could fire them off.
No, they can literally pew their teeth at things. So those are the Shark Ninja stars. Two separate groups came up with that independently without talking to each other.
Awesome.
It was beautiful, and I had a group working out. So it turns out that these sharks want to protect humanity because humanity is tastier when it's free range.
Yep. Well, that's true. Yeah.
And the alien robots that are running on diesel and are enslaving humanity to mine all the oil. Do you mine oil? Drill oil.
Drill oil.
I don't know. Whatever.
They're aliens.
The alien robots, they are all keeping the humans captive, so all the meat's stringy and unpleasant.
Okay.
So the sharks want to free humans so that they are free range and tastier.
Yeah, and there's just so many doors potential for sharks. Sand sharks, Santa jaws.
We had a conversation, and a long conversation about different species of sharks and how that gives you like a racial ability. We
tornado
had
sharks.
Tornado sharks, like the ones in Sharknado.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
It's amazing how many bad shark movies show up about this time of year on Amazon.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I was on top of like the general concept. I was heavily inspired by Street Sharks.
Oh yeah,
and I thought we could make something jawsome.
Jawsome. That's I don't know if you can use that as a catch line. It might be.
No, I don't think I can. But I can say I want to make something jawsome.
You can say fangs for the memory, fangs for dropping by. You could. There's definitely plenty of shark puns.
Plenty of puns.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be fantastic.
Fantastic. Fangs for shopping by.
So yeah, I'm sort of while I'm waiting for the Friction artwork to come in, I'm sort of working on writing this game, and I'm also still ongoing with work on my Era Soul Mist game, my Dark Souls inspired game.
Cool. Do you ever?
I've just finished Elden Ring, and I didn't like it.
So
it was pretty bad.
So you think you can do better? You think you can do better?
No, but I'm in a different genre.
Okay.
I couldn't make a better computer game.
But you could then make better role-playing.
But I gotta say, I think Dark Souls 2 was far better than Elden Ring, and I think Dark Souls 2 was the weakest Souls entry. So, yeah. Not terribly impressed with Elden Ring, personally, but what do I know? So, yeah.
You see yourself ever revisiting some of the older titles? Like you said, you put out Kaiju, and then it's had its sales. Do you ever think you're like going to make like expansions, module, or do you just prefer?
I definitely think that more needs to be done for Kaiju. It ended up being outstandingly popular. I just didn't quite figure out what to do yet. I mean,
well, you do a book of super villains for Empowered and super.
I did my little booklet here of the. Yeah, I mean, you're probably the first person to have it on camera. This is the additional booklet that we did for Kaiju. with the 12 extra kaiju that we unlocked through stretch goals. It's come out really nicely. You've got all the stats there, and is that visible? Sort of.
Yes.
You've got
Yes.
stats there. You've got some info about the character and the things it likes and the things it doesn't like. So yeah, that was the booklet. But yes, I think that kaiju deserves some more attention. There are many things I could do for it, and it's, do I want to do a campaign book? Do I want to do more kaiju examples? Do I want to do giant robots? Do I want to do? I've got lots of choices, but I haven't really decided yet.
Well, you do so much. I mean, you've got the games, you've got the comics, you've got the audio stuff. You're a busy boy, you and the rest of your company. Which is your favorite of the universes to play around with and do other stuff besides gaming?
Other stuff besides gaming. So I think it varies thing to thing. For comics, I think it's probably Empowered. That I most enjoy. I don't mind doing consortium comics. I do quite enjoy it, but for audio, I love being in the consortium universe. I love bringing that universe to life through audio. It just seems to really suit it really well. You can give that atmosphere in a way that I really struggle to with comics, because you never know when someone reads a comic, are they really going to be paying attention to it?
Yes.
Or are they going to have music in the background blaring and ruining the atmosphere? With audio, you know that people pretty much have to be paying attention and experiencing it. So I can be more sure that they're getting what I want out of the sci-fi universe that they're experiencing. And but with comics, I love writing Violet. There's a reason she's the character shown on the front page there. I love writing Violet. I've got more planned very, very soon, but I'm also working on something a little different as well. I brought Era Survival into comics, and I want to continue to grow which universes we can look at within comics. So we've got some Empower comics, we've got some consortium comics, we've got some survival comics, but I am on the verge of launching an Era Lost Legend comic, which is the Final Fantasy inspired universe. That's actually launching on Kickstarter probably this week. Probably.
You're so busy. I mean, where do all these ideas come from? I'm still struggling finishing one a month if I'm lucky.
Someone else asked me that today. You launch a Kickstarter, you get a lot of spam. You get a lot of people trying to get you to pay them money because they have the magic bullet that will make sure that your Kickstarter succeeds and so on. You get a lot.
Dungeon
40
success with DC-20 is proof of that.
30, 40 per Kickstarter. I get people messaging me going, "Oh, you're not being very successful right now. I can wave a magic wand and make it perfect and whatever." And one of them asked me, "Oh, wow, that's a lot of ideas. Where do you come up with all the ideas?" And I mean, not that I was really taking the conversation very seriously. I have to admit, I don't really know the answer. It just sort of comes to me. I think, oh, I know, I could do this. I could make this work. And I look at... So I've not played the Steam Forged Dark Souls RPG, but I have been told that it was bungled quite badly by someone. It was not great.
It came and went really quick, so yeah, I would assume it wasn't.
And I have this history of not trying to reverse engineer the game that exists. This was particularly true for Lost Legend. I wasn't trying to reverse engineer Final Fantasy 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 14 or any of them. I was trying to capture the essence of what it meant and then build a rule set that represents that essence.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that what I've come up with for Era Soul Mist is exactly what it is for Dark Souls. It's not, but it's also not supposed to be. I'm not trying to do that. I'm playing Nioh at the moment, and there are elements of Nioh which are way more similar, elements that are different to Dark Souls, which are way more similar to what I've done than anything in the Souls games. But also a lot of it is very, very Souls gamesy. The thing is, when you look at something and you go, right, I would like to create a tabletop role-playing game that feels like this. Not all mechanics translate onto tabletop. And what with the dress spheres and such? That was FF2, wasn't it? I got that right?
I play Minecraft. I play one video game.
Fair enough. I think that when you look at something, you go, what makes this feel this way? And you build something else that makes it feel that way, rather than trying to go, right, how did they achieve this? What will I do to replicate that? You go, how do I make it feel this way, doing my way of doing it that's going to translate nicely onto a tabletop? And I really think that's where most licensed games tend to fall over. They don't think, oh, how do we make this work on a tabletop? They think, oh, what did they do in this computer game? What were the mechanics? How do I represent those mechanics? How do I copy those mechanics? And yeah, that just doesn't interest me. Speaking creatively. So with Soulmist, what I've done is I've gone, right, okay, there are some things which are inherently Souls game. You die, you need to get back to where you were to get your equipment back. Okay? That's an inherent thing. I like the idea of souls. You know, I do like the idea that you kill something and take its soul and all the souls that it's taken. So it's almost like a sucking away the power of those things around you. But I also think that in Souls games, combat is fast. It's really snappy. So rather than expecting people to roll in like 3 seconds and move on to the next person, you got to do something different. And I've thrown away what I would call conventional era D10 combat for era Soulmist, and I'm doing something different where you roll, but then you don't roll for every attack. You roll at the beginning, and that applies to all of your attacks unless you want to re-roll it, which is a valid move that you can do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like all my attacks were going to be 15.
Yeah, you roll your 5 dice and you get 3 successes. All of your attacks will be 3 successes until you say, I want to re-roll my attack, and that's my turn this turn.
That's cool. It definitely saves a lot of time and energy. I should steal that.
Yeah, I mean, I play tested it, and the response I got from players was, wait, it's my turn already? Which is perfect. That's what I want.
Because yeah, you already know the number, and it's just the same number every. Yeah. You already know it's 3 successes. You already know it's 15. You already know it's whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. You already know exactly what amount of damage you're going to do, and that, you know, while you might look at that and go, well, you know, maybe that's not Dark Souls. No, actually, it really is. You know, you have your weapon.
Yeah, it's very video.
When you hit the thing, you do the same amount of damage every time when you hit the thing with the weapon, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a giant sword that does 500 damage or a piddly little dagger that does 100,
it's always 500.
You know what the weapon does going into combat. Yeah, and it doesn't vary very much.
Cool.
So I really like that. I really like what I've come up with for Soulmist, and I can't wait.
What's your combat system for Balam, then? I mean, how do you resolve spaceship combat? Since that's going to be the heart and soul. And you want it to be fast and exciting and cinematic. And
spaceship combat works in Balam pretty similarly to ground combat. The joke that I made when I started making ERA.Balam was that all I'm doing is making D&D classes for each of these ships, the main modules. So the multiple guns that can turn something into Swiss cheese, that's your barbarian, right?
Mhm.
That's I'm going to run up close and hit it with a giant ship, a giant axe. I'm sorry.
Well, you can, yeah, I mean,
the laser cannon is your ranger. I'm going to blast them from a massive range where they can't possibly return the attack. Your scout module, which turns you invisible, is your my brain has stopped working. I'm sorry. You're looking at all this beautiful artwork of spaceships,
sorry,
and it's distracting me because they're awesome.
sorry. Sorry, spaceship.
No. It's fine. It's fine. The scout module is your rogue. You know, they're turning invisible and then popping out of nowhere to blast the enemy. And so on and so on and so on. And that was the joke I made at the beginning of Balam when I made it. But it's progressed beyond that now. Combat is pretty seamless. It's pretty quick. If the GM is up to thinking in 3 dimensions, then it's 3-dimensional. And if it's not, then it's not. Like with most 2-dimensional games that I play, I don't insist that you can move exactly this distance and this is how far you have to be. I give guideline distances. And the GM can make a decision one way or the other. Are you in range? Are you just out of range? So it's maybe an 8 threshold instead of a 7. Are you going to suffer some real penalty on this because you're way, way, way out of range, but you want to start firing right away on the off chance you hit something? Fair enough. So I find it to be fast and dynamic. You're able to target with certain equipment, I should say, you're able to target different parts of the enemy ship, so you can specifically target like the main engines or the weapons or whatever, and take that out because that's what you want to get rid of.
Is there rules for ramming speed?
Oh yeah.
So you can crash your ship. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have that scene.
Oh yeah. You probably won't live through it though.
No, you're not supposed to.
Most players don't deliberately kill themselves.
Well, deliberately.
In my experience.
But if you're gonna deliberately kill yourself, it's got to be the ramming speed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't have rules, I mean, the thing is that you can also ram people, but like non-lethally. Right. Yeah. So you can just give them a nudge out the way at relatively low, at low relativistic speeds, which will damage you but not destroy you. And there are rules for that as well, because that's a really important thing that you might want to do. Imagine a friendly ship that's going to hit an asteroid, so you want to deploy your tow cable and drag it out the way. You're going to need to have rules for that. That's basically all the strength stat.
Yeah. So just auto racing in space. Yeah. All right, lightning round. We kept you for almost an hour here. Convention season's coming up, at least here in the States. I assume it's summer's pretty big for you guys too. What is your plans for Ed and Era for the summer? Are you going to be visiting cons?
Marketing? We're going to a few. We're doing. Let me try and get these in the right order. No, that's hopeless. I'll just say them all. We're doing Condensed Summer, which is down in Worthing on the south coast of England. Highly recommend it. Run by a lovely pair of ladies who really run really good conventions. Just my favorite convention of the year is run by these two. This is a sort of a condensed version of that larger convention. I'm there. I'm not even. I'm going to Norwich Games Convention. It's relatively new. It's in its 2nd year. They reached out to me and said, "Would you like to come along this year?" I said, "Sure, yeah, why not?" Norwich is not so far from me. I can get there and I can run. Not only that, a lot of my frequent GMs actually live in Norwich as well, or in and around Norwich. So I'm going to have loads of help. I've had 4 volunteers to come and help me. I've had to tell 2 of them that I don't need them this time. I said next year we'll alternate. I'm doing Conduct, which is a convention really specially for families with kids because it's in the summer holidays. So it's to allow families with kids to enjoy a convention when normally they wouldn't be able to because, school and stuff. Last year I went, it was at a venue. I understand it won't be at the same venue, but we don't know exactly where it's going to be yet. Again, it's run by these two wonderful ladies who run great conventions, and I am always willing to be there to help support what they want to do and provide ERA games
That's nice.
at those conventions. And then I will be at London Anime and Gaming Con. I won't be running any games there, but we'll have a stand and we'll be talking about our games, our comics, and our audio with anyone who will stick around long enough to listen.
Cool. Very excited to
see four conventions.
My giant robot rules get made and get some spaceship rules out there. So I posted the links down below. If anybody wants to support any of Ed's great games, but this one or Kaiju or any of them, you can go to the link to Shades of Vengeance. He's always got a Kickstarter going. Thank you, Ed, for taking time out of your busy life to once again visit us here in America.
Thank you so much for having me on. I hope to be back with you soon to talk about my next project, which will either be, I can tell you, it will either be ERA Friction, but the artwork is going slow, or it'll be my book about how to be creative, how to start and finish your creative projects.
Yeah. Let me know when you want to do that, because there might be some other, I might want to do a roundtable on that one, because I know some other people have also done how to be a DM, how to be creative books. So
I've been doing panels on it for 10 years. I figured it's about time I write a little book and talk about the methods I use to do all this.
Yeah. Like I'd love to get you and Venger, and just because you've both done how to DM, how to write stuff, games. So when you do that, let me know. I'll try and set up a panel. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how your take on 1980s, 1990s action film.
I know you're gonna love it, and I'm sorry
from the European point of view.
I'm sorry for the wait. Oh, believe me, it's not really European movies. It's very definitely American action movies. Okay. I'm a fan. I grew up with action movies. My dad always liked an action movie, and so we just had so many action movies just sat on video, VHS, and
So you took, we get English murderers and you get American actions. Is that what it is?
That's right.
Yeah.
And you get Gordon Ramsay.
Get Gordon Ramsay, and we get everybody in this village is dead because the murders are happening to an episode. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done the math for some of your murder shows?
Midsummer Murders is particularly impressive.
Yeah, I did that. I did the math from was one where I did the math, and I figured that by the end of the second season, everybody in the village was dead.
Oh no! You see, the thing about Midsummer Murders is always a different village.
Yeah,
right. So that's fine. But Midsummer Murders, I grew up in a village like those. Right, there are probably 200 people in the village I grew up in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. To an episode, everybody in your village is dead.
Yeah, and by the time you get to 2 an episode's pretty slow going. Actually, it's usually more like 5 or 6.
Oh my God! You killed Aunt Parents. It's time to wrap this up. There's nobody left to kill in the village.
Yeah, I don't have anyone left who's pissed me off.
Series over. Last man standing. All right, thanks, Ed. My best to Mrs. Ed for letting you have time to talk. And we will talk again about American action films very soon. Thanks to everybody who dropped by to listen to Ed talk. I know this was a surprise. We said we were going to try and get it going today, but the communication between England and us backwards colonialists here is hard. But yeah, we'll do it again when it's action movies time. Until then, please like, please share, please subscribe, please check out Ed's stuff from Shades of Vengeance on the link down below, and get off our land, you damn marks.
Yo, check. Yeah, we're not the type to